It's the Trick or Treat Treasure Team Collab. And it's hosted by Debbie with Project 39 mini albums. Lots of collaborators are joining in. We're going to be sharing some Halloween inspiration every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern for the next 4 weeks. Hi everyone, Letty here. I have my last Trick or Treat Treasure Team collab. This is a Crafty collab video. This is week 4. We're making packages and treats. Welcome back everyone. So I'm joining in on the Trick or Treat Treasure Team collab. It's hosted by Debbie, who's Project 39 mini albums. There's an entire playlist of a ton of collaborators that have joined in. I'll link that playlist down below. This is our final week of Halloween inspiration. This is week 4. We're doing boxes, bags, packaging, and treats. I've got a ton of different things to share with you today. Primarily in a previous video, I showed you that I was going to use these 4x4 cut-aparts. So that is what I'm using for most of the projects today. These were coming from the Halloween Magic collection by Echo Park. It was one I was working on smashing at the beginning of this collab. So I've got lots of different projects here. I'm going to show you 3 tutorials, really quick tutorials in this video, as well as linking to some previous tutorials on my channel. So I've got these Hershey candy bar sleeves. I've done these a ton of times, so I'll link a tutorial video at the very end. These are so fun. I brought in this cookies and cream bar. It's a 1.55 ounce bar, I believe, and I do add some sticky tape on the back, some double-sided adhesive, and you just decorate your paper. Again, I have a tutorial to show you exactly how to make these, how to cut your paper down. I'll link that at the very end of this video. And then I had previously also done these decorated paper sacks. These are great to store some larger gifts or larger quantities of candy. Again, I'll link my tutorial at the very end because I just recently did those tutorials. So I'll just show you what I recently did on those. But I have a ton of new little projects here. Again, mostly using these 4x4 cut-aparts. I'm going to show you. So one of my very favorite ones that's so super easy are some decorated pockets or packs. You see there I added some beads to the little bubbles on that witch's cauldron, and then it's just a little pocket. So I'm going to show you exactly how to make this. It's so super quick and easy. You can make a ton of these really quick, really, cost effective. I had used some scraps from my stash also to make some of these. So, and here's a couple that already have some treats in them just to give you some additional ideas. So you see there I decorated the little pocket. I've got a mini popcorn. I've got a couple of candies. I put it in a little cellophane bag, a self-seal bag. That's one option. And then I also have one that has a hot cocoa pack and then some candy bars. So we've got just really fun. I usually use these in the fall or in Christmas time to do my hot cocoa pockets or hot cocoa packs. Again, I'll have a quick little tutorial in just a few minutes. Let me show you a couple more projects and then we'll do 3 back-to-back quick tutorials right at the end. And then I'll do a full recap. But I also have some additional candy holders. Now these mimic my sticky note holders that I usually do that are like usually around 3x3. I have not glued in the packages of candies into these yet, but basically you would just add a little bit of double-sided adhesive and glue them into the package. Now that one had a 1/2 inch spine. You could add a to from label on the inside. You could add some twine. You could really make it, any kind of decoration you want. Here's one that has a 1 inch spine for thicker candies. I've got some Snickers in this one. Again, I didn't glue it down, but you would add some adhesive to the back and then sort of stick it right there on the inside of this. You could also wrap some twine around it to tie it into the little package. These are so quick and easy. And again, they mimic my little sticky note holders. Look at the little beads again I put on that one. I thought it was so fun. So again, you could put a to from on the inside. You could also glue some little like tea packets in here and add some, little notes. I mean, you've got a lot of little options here. So here's another one. And again, I'm just showing you some different ideas. We will also do a tutorial for this one, and I'll link that tutorial at the very end of this one. We're going to do 3 quick back-to-back tutorials. That'll be one of them. The last one I have here is a candy holder that does have a little flap. Now I left the candies in there loose. You could decorate the back with a piece of paper. You can also just add some adhesive to that, glue it straight in there. You could add a little adhesive right there, stick it down to kind of secure your candy treat, add a little to from label up at the top, maybe wrap some twine around it. You've got so many options with these. I didn't do a full, I didn't go all out with the decorations, but I definitely wanted to just give you some ideas to kind of get things kick-started for you. Again, I'm primarily using 4x4 cut-aparts, which we all have in our paper collection. options. These Kit Kats are a little flatter, but if you wanted to use a little thicker candy, you could absolutely do that. You could always adjust the size of the gussets just to kind of make sure everything fits. So before we dive into those quick tutorials, let me show you. I also just made a really simple candy pack where I added my cut apart in a cello bag with some candy behind it. And look at these little fun bugs and kisses. You guessed it, I put some kisses and some little spider rings for the bugs. So I thought this was a cute little play on the words of that little cut apart. So super fun. So, and you could always, you know, add one of those little packs of candy right into one of your little kind of candy holders here. So you've got so many options just here that I'm showing you, primarily using these little 4x4 cut aparts, but there's so many options you could do with your paper in general. And again, I'll show you that. So let's go into the first tutorial. We're going to make these candy pockets that I showed you. These are so easy. These are so quick, and you're going to just be amazed at how fast these come together. It's so quick and easy. So I brought in 2 of those cut aparts from that collection that'll go on the front, and I did bring in 2 little sections that are 4x4 that will go on the back of my pockets. So I've got 4 pieces there that are 4x4. Then I have one envelope that is self-seal. Now let me show you the size of this one. This one's a number 10 envelope. I did pick these up from Dollar Tree. They're the 4 1/8 by 9.5. This one came with 30 total because they're self-seal, but you can get this one in a larger size box for probably about the same price, and you can get these pretty much anywhere. Just make sure you get these that are 4 1/8 by 9.5. Because they're 9.5, we can get 2 pockets from this one envelope. So your first step is just to seal the envelope. And again, if you don't have the ones that self-seal, just make sure you seal it with your adhesive or whatever you want to do to seal it. Make sure it's a fully sealed envelope. Now, what we're going to do is, you guessed it, we're going to cut 2 pockets from this one sealed envelope, because all of the, like the sides and the bottom of the envelope are completely sealed. So once we cut this, will basically get 2 open pockets, one from the left, one from the right. So let me show you how to cut this down. Because our height of our envelope is 4 1/8, we're going to make a perfect square and cut it at 4 1/8 from both sides. So I've just cut it from the left side, and now I have a pocket that opens this way. So that's one of our pockets, and we'll just decorate the outside. It's that easy. You see how this is not super glued down? I'm not concerned with that because we're going to cover it with some paper, so no big deal there. Now, then you're going to want to make sure you take the open side of what's left. You could technically use that as a larger pocket, or layer up some pockets together, but we're going to put the open side to the right and cut it again at 4 1/8. So now we have a second pocket. You do have a little scrap here. You could use it as a belly band for another project, but I'm just going to go ahead and put it aside for now. So just like that, we've turned that one business envelope into 2 pockets, and then the last step is literally just to decorate the front and the back. And I do put the seam side on the back, and I use the side that did not have the seam on the front, and that's just my preference. You can do this any which way you want, but basically you just glue one 4x4 square to the front and one 4x4 square to the back, and it's going to still have that pocket open, and then you can stuff it with your goodies and package them as you want. So I'm going to just use some quick wet glue on this one, glue my front 4x4, which is my cut apart from the collection, and then I will go ahead and glue, and you see there the little like border, it's like a 1/16 border all the way around. I still have my pocket here. Now I'll go ahead and glue the second one, which was just a scrap that was in my stash. I had this just kind of hanging around in my stash. I had some paper scraps together, cut up all nice and neat, that I had actually prepped earlier in the year. I had them ready to go, so I went ahead and just cut them down to 4x4, and that's what I'm using for the back of these little pockets. So I think it works perfectly. The beauty of Halloween is, especially when you have some of the same color palettes, is a lot of times your patterns will just naturally go together because of all the same little spooky kind of theme. So even though these collections did not go together, I still think it works. So again, that was a number 10 envelope. You're going to cut your paper down to 4x4, and you can very easily make those little pockets, which are perfect to stuff with some treats. Now we're going into our next one. I've got another little 4x4 cut apart, another scrap that's 4x4. This is my little like sort of sticky note holder version. It is going to be larger, so I am going to have it this a little bit larger. This is a 4 1/4 by 9.5, and that's the one that's having a 1-inch spine. Because I'm going to use this one for like thicker, kind of bigger candies, chunkier candies. If you wanted to do a 1/2 inch spine, you just take 1/2 inch off of your measurement. I'll give you those in just a second, but you're gonna go ahead and score at 4 1/4 and then 5 1/4, or you could just flip it and do 4 1/4 on both sides. And basically what's left on the inside is your 1 inch, and that is gonna be your sort of gusset there in the back, your fold, your spine. Now, if you're doing a smaller one, you'll just have a 1/2 inch spine like that one. Here's the measurements on that. You're gonna go ahead and cut your paper to 4 1/4 by 9, and then again, just score from 4 1/4 on both sides, and you'll be left with 1/2 inch right in the middle. And you can adjust this depending on how thick you need this to be for your little treats or whatever. So we're gonna fold and then just kind of enforce those score lines just to kind of make sure we have our foundation sort of ready to go. And that's basically it. And this is the same, very similar process that I use for my sticky notes when I buy those little sticky note pads from Dollar Tree. I'm going to just glue my designed cut apart on the front and my scrap cut apart on the inside. So again, I'm just taking some wet glue to this part. I'm going to go ahead and glue it down. You could use double-sided adhesive or like ATG tape runner, any type of adhesive. And then I'm going to glue my scrap. And this one was more of a fall scrap, but because it had those sort of orange and white Swiss dots, I thought it would work perfectly for this, green and orange cut apart. So again, you could add some ribbon or twine. You could even glue it under the that little scrap cut apart there on the inside. You could add a tag at the top. You could have a tag hanging off. You could do pretty much whatever you wanted, but these are basically ready to go. What I love about this is you could mass produce these throughout the year and then just fill them with treats once you get closer to whatever holiday you're going to use them for. So now this last one that we'll do a little quick tutorial on, I'm actually going to cut my front cut apart. I just want to show you how you can definitely cut these cut aparts apart. You could absolutely glue the full one to the front, but I want to use that Happy Halloween on the inside with the flap. So what I'm going to do is do a little bit of crafty surgery. I'm going to cut my cut apart down, and then I'm going to add some of this holographic scrap cardstock that I have in my stash to further decorate. Now your cardstock is 4 1/4 by 11 inch. You could get 2 of these from one sheet of 8 1/2 by 11. You're going to score on the longer side at 4 1/4, 4 3/4, 9, and 9 1/2. So again, on the longer side, the 11-inch side, scored at 4 1/4, 4 3/4, 9, and then 9 1/2. So that's how you do that. Then all you do is you just have to fold and enforce all of those little score marks. Just kind of make it your little holder, just like this. And here's what it looks like. Okay, so I am putting my flap on the inside. Now you could always add a piece of Velcro and use a Velcro dot to glue this down after you decorate. What I'm going to do is just leave it as is. In theory, you could also put a little magnet if you wanted to close it down with magnet closures. Make sure you glue those magnets under your paper. For the Velcro, that's going to go above your paper. So I'm going to start with the scrap on the inside, which is 4 by 4, and I'm going to just kind of glue that to the bottom, just so I have a background to kind of break up some of this black cardstock color. And then for my little flap, I know I want to cut this cut apart that says Happy Halloween, and I want to trim that off and go ahead and add that to the inside of my little holder here. So that's what this looks like. You see it just says Happy Halloween. Now I am left with a cut apart that's not quite 4 by 4. So what I'm going to do is add some scrap holographic cardstock. This is the one from, I believe, Michael's, actually, because it was in my scraps. And I'm going to just add some little dry adhesive here, some little tape runner, and then go ahead and stick down this cut apart to the top, and I'm going to add another scrap to the bottom. And then what I will do next is go ahead and trim this down closer to 4 by 4 so it can fit much better on the front. So it's a little longer than what I need, but I wanted to just add those scraps. That's the scraps that I had in my stash. So I'm going to cut that down to about 4 by 4 and then go ahead and glue that to the front of my little holder. And then as far as the additional piece, I'll show you that in just a second. But you see here, I have just a really nice little sort of like 1/16 inch border or 1/8 inch border all the way around. And we're going to just add that to the front. So super easy. So you can absolutely just put a cut apart right on the front. But because I wanted to do a little bit of, crafty surgery on this one, I wanted to have the Happy Halloween on the inside. I went ahead and cut that off. I just wanted to show you that you could absolutely do this. I'm adding it to a scrap of holographic cardstock. I trimmed it down just a tiny bit, and then I'm going to add it right here to the inside. So that way when the recipient opens this little holder, they'll actually be surprised not only with the candy, but with the Happy Halloween at the same time. So I just think this is so super cute. This is so fun. Again, you could add some Velcro dots. You could add magnetic closure. You could add whatever really you want to do. You could add some twine to kind of seal in your candies. But we'll do a full recap up next. Okay, so to recap, that was the Trick or Treat Treasure Team Collab. I will have a tutorial video for these treat bags at the very end. These were some that I had made earlier, I believe last month, using the new pink Halloween I Wanted a Bundle from Not Too Shabby. Those were so fun. And then this was just to show you some inspiration. I've done a ton of these. I'll link a previous tutorial for these as well. These are Hershey candy bar sleeves. So fun. And then we did this one as one of the tutorials. This one was a little holder that had a flap, and I did make one on camera with you. I had already previously made one. This is great for, stuffing little candy packs in. Here's one that has a 1-inch spine. This is more like a sticky note holder, but larger for candy. So it's a candy holder, but I think it's just so fun. And I used a lot of 4x4 cut aparts on these. This one has a 1/2 inch spine, whereas the other ones did have a full 1-inch spine. So depending on how thick your candy is, you can adjust the spine on these. We also made some little pockets here. These are treat pockets. I think these are so fun out of envelopes. And I stuffed mine with some popcorn, some hot cocoa, some candy. You've got lots of options here. These are so fun as well. I hope you really enjoyed these. I also just threw together some candy in some little packs with cellophane. So you've got lots of projects, different skill levels, but all very easy. I hope you enjoyed those 4 weeks of Halloween inspiration. I will have a full playlist that I'll link down below so you can check out all the videos. And I'll have a couple of additional tutorials right here at the very end. So make sure you check out that hashtag Trick or Treat Treasure, or check out that playlist. I hope you enjoyed and got a ton of inspiration. Happy Halloween crafting!